Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's your day?
Good. Man, it's been crazy. It's been really crazy.
Well, when you texted me and you told me that you had something to share and so much has happened since the reading or whatever you had mentioned, it reminded me of like I have been wanting to reach out to people and just to follow up because I really don't get that. And so I'd love to hear what you have to say or whatever's happened since.
It's a lot. Man, I'm so glad I found your phone number because I was like, how am I going to get a hold of this guy? Because this is like, it's really, I mean, no words, dumbfounding, like in all, humbling, you name it.
Oh wow.
Um, you name it. So, like on, when did we have our Zoom meeting? On a Sunday, right? So Sunday, at the very end of our session, you had said something about you said they're chasing after my heart. And you're like, my heart, there's pressure, my heart is pounding, like who has heart issues? Well, what I failed to extenuate was like I have really felt like crap. And I didn't know why. I thought like maybe like I've gained weight, so I thought I was just having fat girl problems. I told my husband, I'm like, that kind of freaks me out a little bit. And he was like, why don't you just go have your blood work done? And my sister has been trying to get me to go have blood work done, right? And I was like, no, 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 like that's my sister. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just going to up and do blood work because she's worried about me. So I called on Monday to do blood work. I had my blood work done that Friday. Okay. They called me Saturday morning and I'm just now waking up. So I'm half asleep. And they're like, hey, your blood work came back and you're critical. You need to go to the ER. Like right now, your hemoglobin is so low and this, that, and the other. Well, here I'm still asleep and I'm just thinking, oh, they're going to fix me right up and I'm going to be like golden and whatever, no big deal. I'm going to go to the hospital real quick, not thinking, hey, you should not be driving. You're critical, woman. You know what I mean? I'm still not processing any of this. And the doctor comes in and he's like, well, you're a hell of a woman. And I was like, do what? And he was like, well, your blood is, your hemoglobin is at a 4.7. And I don't know if you know about blood, but it should be in between, like for a woman, it's like 12 to 15, 12 to 14. And so they start doing like blood transfusions if you're under 7. I'm at a 4. And he's like, you shouldn't even be walking, let alone functioning.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
like, are you serious? Okay, so yeah, whenever I say that you and whoever came through and was talking about this saved my life, you literally saved my life. Like, don't save my
Whoa.
life, guys, because I'm thinking
Whoa.
fat girl problems, like you gotta
Okay,
start
wait, whoa,
walking.
whoa, whoa. So what happened?
Okay, so I'm like, oh, okay. Well, like he's like, so you're gonna be staying the night and we have to have a blood transfusion. So I had 4 bags of blood, which is a lot. 4
That's
bags of blood. And they were like, if you hold your levels, you can go home. Well, they let me go home. Do you know that nurse at my hospital, the charge nurse, her name was Susan,
so
right?
wait.
Like, which
So you're saying wait. Let's back up a minute. So you said the nurse that was in your room or your charge nurse was the same name as your mom's name,
yes,
and your mom is in spirit.
yes, yes. Yeah, right? I know. Hello, ding, ding, ding.
This is
Yeah,
incredible information,
it's
and
really cool.
it
Like,
is so neat to just hear the ongoing testimonial of spirit and how and what they can do for us.
but anyway, this gets even better. Okay, so
This is wild.
everything's great. I took a week off from going to the doctors. Well, on Sunday, I was driving and I get this message, and I'm actually going to read you this message because this is really going to freak you out, kind of. It says, it's to me and my sister and my aunt, okay? And this is my mom. She had a friend that she worked with, so this is her friend that's messaging us, and she says, Hello, sweet girls. I just got back from New York and I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about something. My mom knows a medium, and I went to visit her with my husband while we were there. Funny thing is, my husband never got to see one before, and he was a basket full of kittens throughout his reading. When it was my turn, the usual suspects showed up: my grandfather, my father, my brother, but for the first time, Susan came through. This is my mom. Susan is my mom. It said the medium described her down to a T, to the part of her being insistent on talking and having so many things to say. She wanted us to know that she wasn't ready to go. She wanted a life with her girls, grandkids, and loved ones. She also said that she is worried about the health of one of her daughters, but I couldn't get any specifics. She said to tell you all she is very proud of how you are honoring your lives, but insisted on the healthy living thing. I don't know if you guys believe, but I had an obligation to let you know to get checked. She has been the only true friend that I have ever had. There was never a hidden agenda, and I felt so proud that she utilized me as a conduit to you all. Okay, I got through that for the first time without crying because I'm like, what?
So I interrupt this because I'm editing this video, and I have to just make sure that you guys are connecting the dots that she said her sister had been trying to get her blood works done. You guys, their mother was trying to get her sister to relay message and to say, get your blood work done, get your blood work done. That is how we are guided by spirit. Trust that instinct, trust that voice, that inner voice, that inner dialogue. That's spirit, that is your loved ones. So why am I so passionate about talking to you about this? Is because you guys come to mediums and you wish that you can communicate. You wish you can have the abilities. You have the ability. Okay, let's go back to what was happening.
What in the world? Okay,
That's
like,
so cool. Spirit is
it is
amazing.
so cool.
It doesn't
really
matter
is.
where you get it doesn't matter which telephone you use. When you're on the pipeline, you're in the pipeline. That's so
Right.
cool.
It is so cool.
Yes.
But like for her to come through like that with two different people I mean, bam. You know what I mean?
So when was your reading with me again?
On the 2nd.
Okay, and today's the 25th. So 23 days ago?
So whenever I scheduled with you, you were like 3 months out. So I think it's so cool how things just line up, and they aligned, and then they aligned a couple weeks later with the lady, you know what I mean? And it's so
reading?
Cool how it aligned. Huh?
When was that reading?
She said a week ago to the day, and this was on Sunday of 2 days ago.
How are you? Like, how are you now?
I am so good. I am like a brand new person. I mean, really, like, I'm really not kidding. I told the kids, I said, I'm going to be running circles around y'all whenever I get home.
Have you experienced other signs or symbols around you since then, or an influx of any kind of visuals or insight or any kind of other signs or symbols you haven't seen before?
This was over the weekend. I had a dream, and this is really strange. I can't even believe I'm telling you about it. The only thing I remember in this dream is I got home and I was emptying my pockets, and I don't put things in my pockets. I don't put things, maybe my phone, but I emptied out 3 lighters, and there were 3 white lighters. I got to looking it up. If you receive white lighters, that you're getting some kind of wisdom or intelligent feedback or something to that degree.
Okay.
Which I know. And I woke up at midnight telling my husband, he was watching TV, and I'm like, hey, I had a dream about 3 white lighters. Like, what does that mean? And he's looking at me like I've lost my mind. And he said, that's it. You just dreamed about 3 white lighters. And I'm like, I don't know. It has to mean something.
When was this dream?
It was over the weekend.
So and when you Google that dream, it meant that you were receiving wisdom or receiving an expansion of knowing?
That's what it said. Like,
it's called a spiritual awakening. And I
Yeah.
want to welcome you to it.
Oh, that's so funny. For real though.
It's really
That's
cool. I'm
awesome.
just so excited for you because it doesn't stop. And this joy and this peace and this all of these things that you're feeling, this liberation, this really, really incredible sensation within your soul. It's almost as though this feeling that your soul has been longing for. And the best part is nothing in your life has to change for you to feel this. And it's like, it's so cool to just surrender to the knowing that there's more to life than this. And we're just all really here for whatever mission that may be. And oh my gosh. So what was your overall experience like as far as the reading goes? I mean, I just would love to hear about it. Like, what did you feel before the reading? What did you feel like walking into the reading and then during and then after? Like, what was your process like?
So I was nervous, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
And then I was like, okay, spirits aren't gonna come if you're nervous. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's what so
yeah.
I was trying not to be overwhelmed with all my emotional, thoughts and processes, and I'm like, do not cry, like, but anyway, like, I guess whenever you're on like a Zoom thing with you, like, you're very down to earth, and like, I don't know, you put all those emotions or those crazy emotions on ease, you know what I mean? Like, very easygoing. It's not, I don't know.
Did you feel like threatened, or did you feel like any poor intentions were had, or did you feel like maybe you were misguided or misdirected?
Absolutely not.
Awesome.
Absolutely not.
I mean, of course, I would love for you to answer it that way, and I'm hopeful that you'd be honest, but I mean, I think a lot of times people have reservations or fears surrounding the topic or this industry because it's being so taboo or witchy woohoo. And it's really not even about that even. It's just, I'm starting to call it more spiritual therapy because that's really what it comes down to, you know? And then so after your reading, how did you feel? Like, did you feel anything the next day? Did you feel anything that night?
Yes.
How did you
Yes.
feel?
Well, there was a lot of things because, it was the 30-minute reading. So really, like, I think it needs to be way longer because I could have just went on, And it's funny because I told my husband, I said, I need an emergency reading, an emergency meeting with Brandon. And that's whenever I was trying to find your phone number and stuff. But anyway, I think whenever we're doing the reading, like, it doesn't all come to you until you're off the phone. And I was very quiet that day. Like, my husband's like, are you okay? You okay? And, I told him bits and pieces and this, that, and the other, but really it's just processing it all. And then, yeah, all throughout the day, you put together little bits of everything. And it's like, wow, boom, bam, because this was days long of processing.
Oh,
and then
God.
when you send me back the video to hear it again, you know what I mean? Sometimes the first time actually doing it and then hearing it is, I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's why I record them, because oftentimes, like, validations also may not make sense right away, and spirit's just trying to convey something that maybe you least expected, or something that's not even on your brainwave, or something that happened so long ago you've completely forgot about. But
Right.
yeah, and then you rewatch it, and then later on, if at the reading a participant doesn't connect to it, then they may connect to it at that moment, which I actually prefer happening, because it's almost as though the reading continues and the experience grows. And it's just really, really neat, because it will happen that way. It's almost inevitable for it to happen that way, because it is such a download of information and a download of messages, a download of validations. And everything's a validation, even down to me shaking somebody's hand has been a validation, where I normally don't shake somebody's hand. And then I shook their hand. And then in the middle of the reading, they took me to the handshake. And I said, wait, your dad is showing me the handshake I gave you. Would he give you a handshake rather than a hug? And then she laughed and she's like, oh my gosh, yes. And so I'm learning as a medium, as a spiritual advisor, and then even as a participant like you can even grab onto everything around you is some sort of form or fashion, like a validation of some kind, because I never shake people's hands. I hug people. And so he had me shake her hand, and I didn't know why I was shaking her hand. So you know how sometimes,
Oh,
sometimes you
yeah.
have moments where you're like, I don't know why I did that, but it just happened. It's
Right.
spirit. It's spirit.
That's crazy, huh? Like, and it's to actually be aware of it now. I mean,
We have to understand that spirit gives us the inspiration to do things that we normally wouldn't do anyway. And when you're so like in the middle of just like a non-egotistical type of state of being, they're able to actually manipulate your decisions, which is why that type of moment, we're always going to be in a moment where like nobody either was around or nobody could alter judgment because ego is not involved. So it's usually like when we're driving and we normally turn right and we felt the need to turn left, or like like you saw something on your kitchen counter, something that's been there for days, and you knew today you would need it. It's like that knowing, so you grab it, and then 6 hours later, it's in your car, and someone's like, "Hey, does anyone have a safety pin?" And what that thing was a collection of like a kit, and you're like, "Oh, I don't know why I knew to grab this, but I put it in my purse."
yeah.
So
Wow, yeah.
that's spirit. So what we're not realizing is that that's when a medium tells you, or when religion even says God is guiding you, that is what that guidance is. And that it doesn't always have to be something crazy like a car accident. It's literally guidance every day. Just for the
I was gonna say every day. That's everyday stuff if we take the time to notice. Yeah.
And be self-aware right here and just listen.
Absolutely.
Because that's what our guardian angels want to do, and that's what they're trying to do is to relay message. And it only makes sense because the sense of urgency behind spirit comes through so easily that when you're watching even mediums on TV, there's a reason why they're in the grocery store minding their own business, and there's a woman down the hall who lost their son in a tragic accident. There's a reason, because there's urgency. It will never be a grandmother who died of a heart attack in the hospital, who was on, whatever. They lived a life. There was no urgency to come back and to relay message. So what I'm trying to say is most people have that urgency on the other side happening to them. They are ignoring it. And so whenever you have a medium appointment, it slows you down. And then you start to see things differently. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this whole time, my whole life, I've been guided. When this whole time, half my life, I felt like I was doing this on my own. And I felt like I was a victim my whole time and my whole life. And then you get to a place of understanding when you realize that this whole time since the day you were born has only been a journey to get you to where you are now. And then you choose, how do you live the rest of your life? And that is what a spiritual awakening is. And that's what you're going through right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just really remarkable. So I really just want to thank you for your transparency and agreeing to talk about it, because we need to normalize it. That's what we're here for, is to normalize.
We do need to normalize it. Yes.
Yep. If you normalize spirituality in your life, you will curate a peace that is unlike any other kind. Unlike any kind. Any kind. A peace that you legit don't have to do anything for, but to surrender to just knowing that everything is going to be fine.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
And I know things are evolving and changing, and people as a whole are changing, and it's just really neat to be a part of that,